Hey everyone, alright, so I've just got done watching the new Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie, The Green Destiny. Now, this is a movie that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. I came across it on Internet Movie Database quite by chance, in the upcoming projects section, and I thought, do you know what? I can't wait for this because I, full disclosure here, I haven't seen the first film all the way through. I've only seen bits and pieces of the first film, but what I did see, I was very impressed by, and so based on that, I was very excited to see a sequel. Of course, been a lot of years since the first movie came out, about 15 years. But yeah, this film, this was this was everything I was hoping it would be. Genuinely. I was really happy with this. Of course, Michelle Yeoh coming back in this one. Chow Yun-fat is not returning, of course. I think they refer to his character in the film. He passed away since the events of the first film. I think this takes place about 20 years after the events of the first film, so damn near in real time, you know. But yeah, essentially, as the subtitle of the film suggests, this film focuses around this mythical sword, the Green Destiny, and it's essentially the sword to rule all swords. It is like it's the ultimate sword, basically. And there's the main villain of the piece is this warlord played by Jason Scott Lee, who's hell bent on taking over China. You know, the whole of China, and one of the things that'll help him to do that is obtaining this sword. So that is the main plot of the film. You've got Jason Scott Lee as this ruthless warlord who wants this sword that's, of course, treasured by Michelle Yeoh, her character, and all her friends. And so they in the city have to protect this sword from Jason Scott Lee and his entire army. Easier said than done, because obviously Jason Scott Lee's got an army of elite warriors at his beck and call. But of course, one of the main actors in this movie, and one of the highlights I thought, was Donnie Yen. I love Donnie Yen, right? And I think this is going to be a fantastic year for him, because obviously you've got this movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2, one of the main stars of this film. Then, boom, at the end of the year, he's in a Star Wars movie. He's in Rogue One as one of the main characters. Hands and feet will be flying. And then, next year, boom, Triple X3. He's just replaced Jet Li. Unfortunately, Jet Li, I think due to health problems, he wasn't able to make the film. But I think the character that Donnie Yen will be playing in that will be essentially the main villain of that. So he'll be going one-on-one with Vin Diesel. That will be something to see. As awesome as Jet Li against Vin Diesel would have been, and that would have been awesome, I'm sure this will be just as awesome. So Donnie Yen, he's quite the reliable guy at the minute. You can't get Chow Yun-fat, you get Donnie Yen. You can't get Jet Li, you get Donnie Yen. But essentially his character, because his character, he's essentially Lee Van Cleef in For a Few Dollars More. Yeah, he's Colonel Mortimer, just travelling the wilderness on horseback. And anyway, when Michelle Yeoh realizes what's happening in the city, she sends out a request for uh, all followers of the Iron Way to come and help. Donnie Yen, of course, comes across. He is this call. Comes across basically like a notice that's been put up on one of the walls in the local town or one of the nearby towns, and he gets together a group of warriors, small group of warriors, there's about 5 of them in total, and they come to the city to help out. And it turns out that his character and Michelle Yeoh's character, they've got a backstory. Hey, because why wouldn't they? They're the 2 lead actors in the film. Apparently, Michelle Yeoh's character was at one point engaged to be married to Donnie Yen's character, but Donnie Yen's character was presumed, she thought he died in a battle with Jason Scott Lee's character, this warlord. So those 3, Donnie Yen, Michelle Yeoh, and Jason Scott Lee's characters, those 3 have got a long history with each other, and it's very, very personal. So you've got these guys who have came together to defend this city, and specifically the green destiny that's protected within the city walls. Now, what Jason Scott Lee does is, because he's been advised by this sorceress essentially, who's foreseen all this, she's had a vision and she's advised him, if you're going to conquer Japan, you need this sword. This is where it is. This is what you need to do. So what Jason Scott Lee does, he sends one of his younger soldiers in, who's still in training. This is a chance for him to prove his worth. And so he does this. He manages to infiltrate the city to attempt to steal the sword, and unfortunately for him, he's discovered and he's captured and obviously held prisoner for the majority of the film. Another subplot that we encounter in this film is there's one of the main actresses in the film, a young actress who plays a very important role in the film, becomes Michelle Yeoh's student, effectively. Michelle Yeoh takes her. She's got this girl. She's got grace. She's got talent. She's got ability to. She knows how to use a sword, but she just needs a few more rough spots ironing out. So Michelle Yeoh takes her under her wing, and of course, between this young soldier who's been captured and this young girl, you've got a bit of a romantic connection there, and that continues to develop throughout the movie. And as the movie's basically building up to an inevitable conflict. Eventually, there's an invasion of this in the city. A big battle, heavy casualties. On both sides. It's a very vicious battle. I tell you what, some high body count in this movie, it really is. But so that attempt to invade the city and snatch and grab the green destiny. Fortunately, Michelle Yeoh and Donnie Yen managed to fend them off and keep the sword safe for now. And then, despite the heavy casualties that they've suffered, so boom, fought off the first wave. Whew, we can rest for now, or can we? Because later on, or shortly after the battle, obviously this romantic connection that's going on between this student of Michelle Yeoh's and this captured soldier, she eventually releases him on the promise that he's gonna, surely you don't want to go back to Jason Scott Lee and his band of men. You can see they don't care. They're not on the side of righteousness, for God's sake. They just they don't care about anyone. They're just, self-aggrandizement, and of course, basically, once he's had his use of you, he'll want rid of you. He'll kill you when it suits him some good purpose. So surely you don't want to go back to that. And you've seen what they've done here. That isn't the right side to be on. So the soldier promises her genuinely, but but the problem is, shortly before she sets him free, the night before he was asleep, and he had a vision that his master, who taught him everything he knows and had effectively raised him since he was a small boy, he was on his way to the city on his own to complete this mission, to infiltrate the city and complete, snatch and grab on this sword. And basically, it was a vision that had been conjured up by this sorceress. Essentially, she infiltrated his dreams and was letting him know, right, this is your choice. You either make sure your master comes back with this sword, or he's gonna die. So this soldier's been in between a rock and a hard place. Obviously, he's fallen in love with this girl, and he realises that Jason Scott Lee's side is not the right side to be on. And obviously he wants to keep his promise to this girl for obvious reasons, but then the other side of that is, if he doesn't get this sword back to Jason Scott Lee, his master, effectively his dad, is going to be killed. So obviously he's got to bite the bullet, and after she releases him from the prison, he does a snatch and grab. It kills him to do it, but he steals the sword and makes off with it. So he gets out of the city, and obviously he's making his way back to Jason Scott Lee's camp. As you would, you want to get there as quick as possible before these guys catch up with you. Unfortunately, he gets to this frozen river, and there waiting for him is Donnie Yen. This is a problem. You see, if you're on your way somewhere, if you're on a mission and you're trying to get somewhere, and you see Donnie Yen's there waiting up ahead for you, you just give up, because it's only going to go one way. Unfortunately, our guy doesn't have that luxury because his teacher's life's on the line here. So, begrudgingly, he has to fight Donnie Yen. And you've got this really impressive battle that takes place on this river of ice. And then, as the battle progresses, obviously Donnie Yen starts gaining the upper hand because it's Donnie Yen. But fortunately, our guy's master gets there in time to rescue him. So this 2-on-1 fight then ensues, and it's essentially the duel of fates. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul battle from the Phantom Menace, just in reverse. This time it's the hero that's on his own. Although it's not fair to call the young soldier a villain, because obviously he's between a rock and a hard place. He doesn't want to fight Donnie Yen, but at the same time he doesn't want his teacher to die. So you got this really, really impressive fight scene, and eventually the master decides he's going to hold Donnie Yen off for as long as he can and give his boy the chance to escape. And that happens. The young soldier manages to escape, and the fight progresses between the teacher and Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen finally manages to kill him. Boom. We knew it was coming. It's only going to go one way. So the young soldier finally returns to Jason Scott Lee's camp, and You know, hey, he's got the sword, clear as day. Obviously, Jason Scott Lee is very pleased by this. So obviously, he's summoned to the throne room to our handed over. Anyway, so gets in the throne room, about to give him the sword. Fortunately, our boy sees the light and says, "No, no, it ain't going down this way." And draws the sword and just goes to work on Jason Scott Lee. Yeah, he's there to take him out, and you think, all right, he's seen the light. Here we go. Well, like I say, his teacher's dead. Sad but true. So I think he was the only one in Jason Scott Lee's army, who had any, who he had any emotional attachment to. This is the only guy who had any meaning to this young soldier. He's gone now, so this young soldier has no one left on Jason Scott Lee's side. No reason to stay loyal to Jason Scott Lee anymore. So boom. Right, I'm on the side of righteousness now, and I'm here to kill you. Unfortunately, he misses his mark. It's fair enough. This guy hasn't even completed his training yet, so you got to go easy on him. Although he does take a good shot at Jason Scott Lee, but it misses his mark, unfortunately. But it's all right though, because Donnie Yen and Michelle Yeoh and the rest of their team are not far behind. They're riding on horseback and just tear up the place. They're cutting through Jason Scott Lee's army like nobody's business, just wiping out guys left, right, and centre. And yeah, so it's time to settle the score. Donnie Yen showed up back from the grave, basically, as far as Jason Scott Lee's concerned, back from the grave. So it's time to end what they started decades ago. So you got Donnie Yen and Jason Scott Lee going one-on-one with all this chaos ensuing. I think you see a glimpse of it in the trailer where they're fighting up this huge tower. It's so impressive to see. They fight up and down this goddamn thing. It's so much fun to watch. So while you've got Donnie Yen battling Jason Scott Lee, you've got our boy, the young soldier, and his love interest there. They're fighting side by side, because why wouldn't they be? Just taking out guys left, right, and centre. And then obviously Michelle Yeoh, she comes face to face with this goddamn sorceress who's hung over this movie like a goddamn shadow. So yeah, she's going. So it's all going. It's all going down. Yeah, and it's so much fun to watch. Like I say, people are being taken out left, right, and centre. But sure enough, Michelle Yeoh, she finally manages to get the best of this sorceress, throws the sword through the air, boom, right in the chest, dead. Good. She's out of the picture, thank God for that. Because she's arguably, obviously, Jason Scott Lee's very important in the film. You look at this guy and think, yeah, he could take you out. He could conceivably kill Donnie Yen, but quite possibly, because of the nature of the character, that sorceress was quite possibly the main threat in Jason Scott Lee's army. She probably posed the main threat to like Michelle Yeoh and Donnie Yen, because who the hell knows what she was capable of, the full extent of her power. We never find out, and it's probably a good thing, because if we did, our guys probably wouldn't have won. So fortunately, the sorceress out of the picture, dead. Boom, sword through the chest, ain't coming back from that. So Donnie Yen and Jason Scott Lee continue the fight, and it's impressive as all hell. A Duel of Fate should have started kicking in, it wouldn't have been out of place. So the fight continues, and eventually, boom, our guy Donnie Yen finally manages to get the best of Jason Scott Lee. Both fly at each other through the air. Boom, Donnie Yen's just a bit quicker on the mark. Again, it's a perfect example of, hey, it doesn't matter what weapon you use. It doesn't matter if you finally get your hand on the Green Destiny. If you're not quick enough, man, it doesn't matter. And Donnie Yen just proved that right there. So yeah, Jason Scott Lee hits the floor, dead. Whew. Donnie Yen's our winner, ladies and gentlemen. But so that's effectively the story. You know, the battle to defend or protect this mysterious sword, this mythical sword that's so special and so cherished. They've taken a vow to keep this sword safe, and they successfully do so. And it ends with our heroes. They decided, it's not safe within the city anymore. It's too public, so they take it up into like the ancient mountains, where no one will be able to find it, and it'll finally be safe there. You won't have to worry about any other tyrannical warlords coming in search of it. So, the story itself, very, very simple story, perfectly serviceable, similar, it's a story, it's kind of story that's been told before, be it protecting a sword or some ancient artifact or religious item, or even protecting a sacred village itself, or protect, it's a concept that's been used many times before, but I thought it was used really well here. Like I say, it was everything I was hoping it was going to be. I'm very, very pleased, and just to talk about the film itself, not just discussing the plot. Everyone involved, really, really good, really good performances. Everyone handled the action sequences brilliantly. As you can probably guess, a lot of wire work used in this. I appreciate that that's not for everyone. It's in a lot of instances, for the most part, you either love it or hate it. I'm perfectly happy with wire work, and it was really well done. I thought, it was spectacular. It was so much fun to watch. Was really impressive. So if you're a fan of wire work, or if you can handle wire work just fine, you should have no problem with this. The action sequences, though, really well choreographed, really imaginative, really fun. Donnie Yen was so good. Like I say, it's a great time to be a Donnie Yen fan. Michelle Yeoh, really good. Obviously considerably older now than what she was when she was in the first one. People have been wondering whether she can still handle herself. I'd say so. She can still go. She does really well in the fight sequences in this. She really does. And like I say, everyone involved does. Jason Scott Lee, really, you can tell he's having fun. And yeah, he fits the part as like a menacing, imposing warlord. Like I say, you buy the legitimacy of this guy. He could kill you in a fight. Obviously, when you compare him to Donnie Yen, Jason Scott Lee is the bigger guy of the two, considerably. So he has that imposing aspect over Donnie Yen. Production values, right? From what I can remember, it's it's a very different style to what Ang Lee did with the first film. Very much an art house type style, but that's Ang Lee. This film very much does its own thing, and you've got to admire it for that. It's not a carbon copy. Yeah, it's very different style. A lot of parts, yeah, you got that feel that it was like made for Netflix, made for television, but it didn't harm the film. But it was noticeable in some areas. But didn't, not to the film's detriment, I don't think. You know, still a very well made film, you know. One thing I do have to say that I think which is on par with the first film from what I can remember. Absolutely stunning, visually stunning. The cinematography, the lens work, the production design, the whole art design, absolutely fantastic. You see these beautiful landscapes and these beautiful shots of this ancient Chinese city, and there's the part at the end when they're all riding away on the way up to this mountain range. They go along a beach and it's absolutely fantastic. But the shots of the landscapes, absolutely stunning. It's, the great thing about China is films set in China and Japan and these places, just, they've got the advantage and the benefit of such beautiful locations. The films often come off all the better for it. It looked so good, and the attention to detail in dressing the sets and everything, the costumes, it's just really fantastic. I praised the Rurouni Kenshin live action trilogy in that regard, and I think this deserves equal praise. And the design of the props and everything as well, like we talked about, you know, like the weaponry in the film, absolutely fantastic. And the title sword, the Green Destiny, the design of that, beautiful designs. I mean, I was a bit taken aback when I saw a Netflix original. I think this film is deserving of a theatrical release, by the way, I will say that. But Netflix original, I apologise. I shouldn't have turned my nose up. This still could tell a lot of money and a lot of effort had been put into this. I think I'm behind the times in that regard. Obviously, because Netflix is such a big thing now. So to to have that on the poster, a Netflix original movie, obviously that's not necessarily a negative thing to have. That's not a bad thing. But yeah, and like I say, this proved that to me in no uncertain terms. I was amazed, very, very impressed. Like I say, I can't wait till this comes out on Blu-ray, because like I say, it looks spectacular, and the lighting that they used as well in this film, absolutely fantastic. Oh man, I mean, obviously, it is important to have a good story and good performances, good writing, something of substance when you make a film. But I love a film that's visually stunning. Yeah, and this, great much like Rurouni Kenshin, this film had, really solid, serviceable story, really good performances, really likable characters as well. But to go with that, they had an amazing art design to go with it. It was, visually impressive as well. As having a satisfying story and really memorable performances, really good characters. So yeah, just the whole look of the film, absolutely stunning. Music score, really, really effective, really well done. And movie passes, it's 1 hour 40 minutes, and yeah, pace, it's got a good pace to it, really has. And yeah, the action is pretty constant. So if you're going into it expecting to see plenty of good quality action. I don't think you're going to be disappointed on that front. But yeah, I was really surprised, but I will definitely be getting this when it comes out on Blu-ray. What I'd like them to do, I'd like them to hopefully they'll release a combo pack, you know, with the first and second film in one set. That'd be ideally what I'd like to get. So that's probably what I'll look for when it hits Blu-ray. But yeah, that pretty much brings us to a close. So really impressed. Everything I hoped it would be. And guys, I hope this review's been helpful to you if you were debating whether or not to see it. And if you do decide to watch it, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I have. Thanks for sticking with me, guys, and I shall see you all next time. Thank you, everyone.